What's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Ashley. I'm here with my husband.
What up, though?
And this is our Journey of Love podcast. How you doing, babe?
I'm good. What's going on?
Not much. You look good.
Thank you.
Glad to see you.
I need a haircut.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
A little line wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. It's a little, yeah, it's a little uneven.
Yeah. So this is another segment in our family series where we are interviewing our parents to get their perspectives on love, relationships, and all of that good juice.
The good juice.
The good juice.
Yeah, just a little something to see where our roots come from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our train of thought. You know, why we do some of the things we do. Say some of the things we say. We had to get it from somebody.
Facts.
Right. We the apple, they the tree. Yeah.
So our special guest today is my father-in-law, Mr. Philmore III.
My pops.
Yes.
What's going on?
Good morning.
He just like me at it. Good morning.
Right. What up, though? Very monotone voice. You know where you got that from.
Right. What's going on, sir?
Nothing much. Just a little nervous.
A little
Nervous. This is just a conversation with a mic in your face. That's all.
Yeah, I guess so.
What's going on?
Just life in general. I'm in the latter part of my life, and I'm just want to live each day with a little peace.
Okay. The golden years, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now I'm on the second half.
All right. We appreciate you coming up here to this hot Atlanta.
Taking time out your schedule. Wow.
Right.
Yeah, it's Father's Day. I figure I try to get up here around the kids or my adult kids now to be with them.
Okay.
You need a tissue?
No, I don't.
You sure?
Yeah.
Let me go run and get some.
Good.
He can use my T-shirt.
Okay.
Oh.
There we go. You good. We got you covered.
I'm glad I'm covered.
For the tears.
Right. you know, I got that as black folks ever-ending illness, them sinuses.
Oh, you know what it is? It's my sinuses.
Yeah,
it's
my sinuses.
It's my sinuses.
Right.
Allergic.
My sinuses. Well, we appreciate you coming. And, I guess I started off and, give a little example of my dad. He is the one who molded me. Well, at least one half, shout out to my mom. But yeah, he's the one that, I get to walk from, my chest stuck out and, some of the mannerisms get it from him. But, he's the one he's that backbone. We good? All right. Just making sure. But yeah, he's that backbone, man. Somebody that's going to be there for you. Even though you might want him there, he's going to be there. And you know what? And people know that I like Batman, but Batman was always around. And I'm not talking about, as a toy, as a TV show. This guy right here was Batman.
That was Batman.
This guy right here was Batman. I mean, every time you look over, he'll tell me all the time, I'm just like Batman, boy. Every time you turn around, you do something, be right there. And he was. And, at the time, you don't understand it.
Right.
Take it for granted. But, nowadays, I look back and be like, I'm glad he was there. I call him so now. I call him and be like, man, I appreciate you. Now.
Hindsight is always 2020.
20-some years later, be like, man, I appreciate you. Because, man, these cats out here make you shake your head. Like, you let your son doing all that. Or these dads out here just letting their son do willy-nilly. I'm like, man, I wouldn't get away with that. But, I appreciate him. And he's, part of the reason why I'm here today. Ain't been in jail and I ain't got no drugs. Ain't out here doing nothing stupid. So, I got to beat the stupid beat out of me. So they go.
Oh, so you had a stupid season.
Yeah. But, all jokes aside, but yeah, proud of this guy.
Oh, that's so sweet. Do you need a tissue?
I got a shirt for him. I got a shirt.
So how did your relationship with your father influence your perspective on love and relationships and family?
One thing that he did that I admired was I never see him break down. Never. I mean, when stuff would get hard from my point of view, I never saw him break down. Even though, you might looking at it and be like, wow, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? I never see him go, I never saw him phase him. And then that was just one of the things I was like, I gotta be that way. Because that shows me that, I might not have the answers, but he was going to have it. I don't know how, but he was going to come through. And that stuck with me. And I was like, when I have a family, I was like, I need the pressure on me so I can come through. And he always did that. And that stuck out to me. I told him that once, but I don't know if he remember
so
that.
Sweet.
But yeah.
You need some tissue now?
Once again, emotions won't come out.
But yeah, because as when you grow up, when you got a father in the house, they're supposed to be the security, the foundation, and they're supposed to be the one to take care of everybody. And then you have the ones who leave and ones who fold under pressure because pressure bust pipes.
Yeah.
But this guy right here, and I didn't see him in his dark times, but he kept that chin up. Was like, be all right.
That's what's up.
We're gonna be all right. So that I felt like that was put in my system, that I was like, yo, when I get my family, make sure they all right.
Make sure they good.
Right.
Well,
they may not see me go down.
You carry your wife.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's not easy props.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You're a trophy mate.
Yeah. And he always took care of my mom. And she didn't ever go without. He didn't disrespect her. I didn't see any disrespect. He was loyal. He respected her, treated her right. And that's why they going on 34 years?
Yes, sir.
34 years. 34 years.
Now is when I need the tissue.
He made sure she was good, man. When they say, a king for his queen, he took care of her.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
And he took care of me and Joker.
Spoiled them all.
We didn't go without. We didn't go without. And another thing that I tell, other guys that got kids and, at my peers, and they, come up with excuses or why they can't make it to a program or a game or something like that. And I always tell them, like, man, you never know. You need to make that type of stuff, for the kid, because they appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I tell you, he didn't miss anything. All them jobs, he had 2-3 jobs. He didn't miss, and I could probably tell you one track meet. He missed one. At all track meets, all the football games, he missed one. But it was like a course of 3 days, I think. But he made the next day. He could. It probably killed him that he couldn't make that one. But he made the next day. So he made sure that even though he was losing sleep,
but he was present.
Eating, that he made sure I got up, practiced, had the best clothes. Everybody asked me, "Ooh, how you get that?" He gave it to me. So he was there. He was one of them dare dads.
Their dads.
Yeah, he was their dads.
Their dad. So now that you heard all these wonderful remarks from your son, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your views on, love and relationships and all the good juice, as we say.
Well, I guess let's get a little history or background about myself. Born in the early 60s. I am Philmore III. So there was my father who was junior and his father who was senior. And I guess it was, you could say unfortunately and fortunately, I was born during an era after the civil rights had really pushed itself forward. Martin Luther King Jr. had, I guess, just been assassinated 2 years after I was born. And that struck me because I still remember the day it happened because my dad, he was a young man, and they was out there running around through the riot and everything. But as far as myself, I guess I've learned a whole lot through my life's journey coming up. And now that I look back, I think a lot of the things that Philmore discussed and talked about, love was, I guess, my foundation of love really was based on, I guess, my Christianity, because I was brought up in the church from a baby. And even though, there wasn't a lot of demonstration of love in my family, I always look at how Jesus came and going through the Bible and seeing that. And he showed that type of love that nobody could ever demonstrate or go through. And I tried to do that and be there for my family. And I guess that's how the relationship and how I see love came about. And doing what I've done over the years, I see myself as a professional. And it's kind of ironic that Philmore said that it was Batman. But as years went by, even today at my job, I wear a symbol of hope. And anybody who's, I guess you can say, a DC comic person, they know that S that Superman wears is the symbol of hope. And I wear that today. I have jewelry, necklaces and rings, and a lot of my shirts, even my bike, had the colors that he wore. But I see myself as a symbol of hope, even on the job. And the reason why is because I've been there and I be there for people. And I was there for my family throughout these years. And I've tried to teach and show people that you don't give up. You keep going and you make it through. And so I've had the opportunity to have gone through a journey where a lot of experiences have taught me lessons, good lessons, bad lessons, tough lessons, and lessons that a lot of people can't even afford. And when I say that, the types of jobs that I've had, he referred to me having 3 jobs, but I worked for major industries ever since I've had a job, from the time I had my first job even to now. And some of them have allowed me to be and walk with some of the most famous people on this earth today, and some that have passed on. And it has diversified my train of thought, the way I see things. And that's how I've tried to influence both my kids in their livelihoods to help them get to where they are. So that's a little bit about me. So,
okay, nice, diverse.
Yes, good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. So, I guess give us some examples of, the love that you show in our family, immediate, me, Jellica, Mom.
Right. Well, I guess the first thing that I think,
and not meant to cut you off, I'm talking about like start from the beginning when you was young.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got married, I guess, early 20s, 24, 25. And during my college days, instead of taking American history, I took Black history. So during those times, after I got married and had my kids, I knew it was important that they saw a strong, positive male Black figure. And as time goes on and has gone on, unfortunately, the male Black figure has kind of defaulted on what I see as a strong Black man. And so I tried to give those and show those attributes to them, even from the time they were born to the time up until now. Being there for them, having integrity, character, someone who they could be proud of as they grow older. A lot of people ask me even today, just because of my demeanor, was I in the military? And I've never been in the military, but I think it's because of my disciplinaries, how I look, how I carry myself. I truly believe in walking with my head up, staring people in their eyes, showing that there's no reason to fear, because at the end of the day, I know who's in charge, and that's God. And I think it's important as I raise, especially Philmore, as a man, that there was a reason to have fear, because in the end of the times, somebody's going to judge you. But I wanted him to understand that as he was growing up, that if he didn't know how to act and carry himself, man would take him out of this world. And you have to have integrity and some character and be responsible, because if you don't, then anybody can take you down. And I've always had this, I guess you say, cliche. Cliche, yes. You either stand for something or fall for anything. Mm-hmm. And I always had told both of them that anybody can follow, but everybody can't lead. And that's why I tried to be a strong leader as a male black man and demonstrated those abilities. No matter what the downfalls might have been, when I first started working after they were like, well, actually Philmore was born and my wife was pregnant with my daughter. I lost my first major job after 2.5 years. And I wasn't in Memphis. I was in another city, didn't know a whole lot of people. And I could have taken the low road and took government assistance, but I chose to fight it out. Yes, I did have 3 jobs because I needed 3 jobs in order to maintain the financial status and the type of living that we were accustomed to. And I refused to allow somebody else to dictate how we lived. So I went out there and got 3 jobs. Even though I moved back to Memphis, it was a struggle trying to get there because there's a different attitude and mentality of people in the South than it is anywhere else in this country. Mm-hmm. And so I had to do what I need to do to make sure that they had the kind of life that I've seen, not experienced, but I was able to see. I grew up in a family where there was 5 kids, and my father, he worked hard, and he was always gone. He was a father, he was a provider, but he wasn't there at my activities, and he didn't see the things that I did and the accolades as I grew up as a child. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure my kids knew that I was going to be there for them. And that was my way of showing them love, to let them know no matter what's going on, Dad was going to be there no matter what. And I want to share this story about Philmore. He was in school, as he grew up. I was his PTA president through high school.
Facts.
That would irritate me.
Big facts.
That would irritate me. Like, why are you
Facts.
But even before he got to high school, I remember when we had just moved back in Memphis, and both my kids were very gifted and smart. And we got to Memphis and put them in a public school. And I never forget this. He was in elementary, and he was being picked on by these guys because they wanted to look at his paper because he was making A's and B's, and he wouldn't allow them to. And he came home and shared this with us and said, these guys are picking on me in class. And I said, well, son, you tell the teacher. He came home. He said, they still picking on me and the teacher didn't do nothing. I said, well, go tell her again. And he said, well, he came back. I said, okay, well, this time, because the teacher's not doing what you need to do, you need to go talk to the principal. And you let the principal know. He came back home again. Ain't nothing changed. And I guess about 2 or 3 weeks had gone by, and they were in the public school system. So this last time when he came home, I told him, I said, you go to the principal's office, and you tell them that if these boys mess with you again, your father has given you permission to pick up a chair and hit them till they don't move anymore.
Remember that. I remember.
And the reason why I did that is because, when my kids growing up and coming up in school is for education. And they didn't need to be going there fighting and getting caught up in these people and gang members and things. And I didn't want him to be afraid, but I didn't want him to be going to school being a fighter. I say that to say as he got into high school, when he would get in trouble, that's why I was a PTA president at his school, because he was at probably one of the worst or baddest schools during that era in Memphis. And I made an announcement because I became the PTA president. And I told them, and I told the parents, the teachers, and the students in a meeting that I don't send my son to school to fight. I don't send him to school to be a class clown. And if anybody has a problem, they need to deal with me. Because it wasn't going to be no fighting. It's going to be him getting educated. Because his education was what's going to carry him through his future. And once again, I'll throw this back at him. I'm probably one of the most proudest fathers that can be, especially for my son and my daughter, but more so my son, because he's a male black figure in America today who's making it. And one thing that I can say for sure, and I'm sure Ashlee applaud this, he has definitely shown her that black men are not always bad. I mean, he's giving her and treating her like the queen that she should be in his house, similar to the way I was in my house. And just to reflect on my daughter, she's strong also. And I told her that as she came up, if a guy can't treat her the way her father treats her, they don't need to be with her. I can remember back just with her when she was getting ready to go to her first prom. And this is where I say where I spoiled them. She was in 11th grade, and it was time for her to go to get a dress. And she said, Dad, I don't want to go to Macy's or nowhere like that to get my dress because somebody's going to have one like me. So that Wednesday morning, we got on a plane. We flew to Dallas. We went to Saks Fifth Avenue. I spent $1,300 for her to have a dress that nobody else was going to have.
I remember that.
And she came back, she wore it, and didn't even have it. But that's the kind of thing that I wanted my kids to know that, and we weren't rich by no means, that you can be successful and live a real good life, but you just got to know how to act, carry yourself, and live with integrity and character. And so, you know, those are the things that I've done over the past to express love. And as far as my wife, like I said, we've never had any arguments about me being with another female or coming in late or anything like that. And one of the things that was disturbing to her in our early livelihood is, you know, I got married because I was ready to be married. But one evening we were with my family and they asked me early in my marriage, did I love my wife? And I guess we had been married at least 3 or 4 years. And I said I really didn't know yet. And she got upset and started crying.
You didn't think she was it?
Well, being sensitive how women are. Yeah, I guess she had the right. But when it comes to love...
Yes, she did. Because I would have like, say what? Say that again. Let's run this back.
But when it comes to love, and even more so today, people use their words so loosely. And love is not just about saying it, but more so reflecting it and showing it. And, you know, at that time we were just married. We didn't really know each other. I mean, you don't get to really know each other the first 1 or 2 years. You get to know when the time gets tough, when you don't have the financial standpoint, when you don't have the food, and both of you guys hanging in there, going through the ups and the downs, dealing with the goods and the bads. And it took over time. And I guess it actually took about 6 or 7 years for me to really say I love my wife. Because there were some bad times. I lost my job, didn't have anything. There were times we were hungry. We had to stay with relatives and sleep on the floor. And for her to go through that with me, and we go together, and me not say, well, I'm going to go stay with some other woman, or her go with some other man. Those are things we had to learn to grow together. So love to me is like a seed. You plant it. And then as it goes on, it grows, it develops, it becomes strong. And when you continue to fertilize it and water it, then that's when you know love is really there, because it becomes a strong bond. And we've been married 33, 34 years. And that's odd to people nowadays. I have people ask me all the time, because they see both my kids, and were you married to their mother? And man, that's great. 34 years, that's a long time. Whereas now people say, I love you, married for weeks, and then they're divorced, married for 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, and they're divorced. And even nowadays, you see these stars, they get married, and they're on TV with these big diamond rings and all this stuff. I love you. And then 2 years, they're getting a divorce. So love is something to me that it has to be nurtured and grown into. And because I know my daughter and my son, as they were small, hey, my daughter was ready to go and give herself to juvenile court. because I was showing her some tough love. And I asked her, would she prefer to stay there with me or go to juvenile court? And she said juvenile court. I made her sit down right then and had to explain to her. But there were things that they went through as they were coming up that they didn't understand. But I told my son that, if he can make it through anything that I was putting on him, he can make it through this world because nobody could put anything more on him than I could.
Fact. I tell Peter that all the time. I was like, does nobody besides God scare me besides this man right here? I said, I don't think nobody, I'm telling you, he didn't put me through some stuff.
Thick and thin.
That nobody, I don't care how mad a person get at me, there's nobody be like, If you do it, you want to bring it and really bring it. Like really bring it.
So
but
let me ask you something then. So you said you didn't really love her till 6-7 years in. So did you not tell her, like verbally tell her that you loved her at any time prior to that?
Well, I said what she wanted to hear.
So you was still playing games?
It wasn't a game. I cared a whole lot about her. I've always cared from day one. And it was strong, but once again, the word love, to me, and that's just, I guess, from what I've seen throughout history. I've seen my relatives say they loved their wives when they were coming up, and I knew I had uncles that were cheating on their wives, and I've seen movies and other people that I knew love. But then when it came to the hard times, they bailed out. So, it just was something. It wasn't a game, because I knew I was in it to the end. Because, like I said, when I took those vows, I meant it. Mm-hmm. But love is not just a feeling. It's what you do and showing and being there. Because there's a lot of fathers say, I love my child, but he's not at home. So is that child feeling the love? Mm-hmm. I don't think so. But when he's there providing, demonstrating, being at all the track meets, all the cheerleader competitions, PTA meetings and weddings, and still checking up on everybody every day, I think that's the part that every child coming up needs, because they need to know that they have that support. And not even as parents, but black people haven't learned to be a strong support for each other. And I think that's one of the problems that we have in this nation. We say things, but we don't demonstrate and do. And I wanted to always be a positive influence on my biological family, which are my kids. But I do have several, when I say several, children out there that I've helped raise, lived in my home. And I would say 95% of them are females, to help give them that feeling of security, a positive role model that was African American male, because we don't do a good job of doing that. And a lot of times we run our own females away because, Philmore and Ashlee, that you sit in your meetings at work and you hear a woman say, oh, ain't no good black men in the world today, because we do very little to show what we say. Everybody can talk a good game, but can you really demonstrate it by being there during those tough and hard times, and being there to make sure that they know and believe in you? And like I said, it's like planting a seed, and you watering and nurturing it until they grow up to be strong and be independent to themselves.
Cool. Okay, so I want to backtrack just a little bit, and I want you to elaborate, because I remember, when I was younger, I guess I think I was starting to drive, and you had come to me asking me about how I would dress, and me playing the loud music and this, that, and the other. And you had this example. You was like, what if you coming down the street and, I'm not involved in drugs and not in a gang, and the police pull me over, but let the person behind me who was in the gang and drugs and this, that, and the other pull me over and abuse me and beat me just because I'm just, looking like a goon. you know. But now we got, you know, the times have changed a little bit more. Now they pulling over and killing us now, and you know, it was kind of like you foresaw that. You know, I just want you to elaborate on that because, you know, now it's a whole lot different, you know, now than it was when I was coming up.
Right. I understand what you're saying. So basically your question is, when it comes to law enforcement authorities, why did I give you that direction?
Yeah.
Well,
like, what did you? Because I mean, coming up, we didn't see it on the news like it is now. You know, it was just I ain't seen that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you a story, Philmore, that I never shared with you before.
Lord,
and you and Ashley may want to go get the Kleenex. But I'll never forget one evening had gotten out of school and me and my friends were in my backyard, playing football, and I guess we were a little loud, and somebody had called the police on us, and we had to be about 13 or 14, and they came through the backfield in our backyard, and they yelled at us and told us to get on the ground. And I told him I'm at home, and he yelled out, "Boy, I said get on the ground." And I was afraid. I was afraid because of the things, like I said, coming out of and living in the early 60s, what policemen were doing to people, that they would do it to me. And so from that standpoint, and even though my major in college was criminal justice and I worked in, I guess you could say, law enforcement and corrections, I know and knew during that time period that our law enforcement, especially in the South, didn't have integrity. Mm-hmm. And I still feel that today. And I mean, we see it as we see African American men and women nowadays being abused. And it pretty much, they're almost going back into the 60s. But I always wanted to make sure that you knew that you had to respect authority. Because at the end of the day, by law, they had the right to do whatever they want to do to you and could get away with it. And before I was married, I worked in corrections at the juvenile center, and I saw it. I saw white correction officers do things to African American boys that was acceptable. But then when white juveniles would come in the juvenile court system, I would say things to them and I was reprimanded for it. Matter of fact, that was how I lost my first job, because I had a white male come in drunk, start yelling and saying what he said to me, and I shut him down and put him up, and one of the white intake officers stood up, yelled and cursed at me. And I said something back to him, and he reported me to the head guy at the time. And when I went in that morning, I got yelled and cursed at by him. And that's when I guess my whole stand, as far as hold your head up, stand for something or fall for anything. And I stood up and looked that guy in the eye. And even though he was my superior, my boss, and I told him I put my pants on one leg at a time. And if he yelled and used that kind of language with me again, I was coming across the table at him. And, you know, but going back to what you were asking me, I didn't want you to have to go through that. And that was one of the reasons why, even in school, I wanted to make sure you understood that dressing presentable, carrying yourself with integrity and character, not only to protect yourself, but hey, you represented me. Mm-hmm. And I know that's how I carry myself, and I carry myself that way today. And people will respect you for that. Mm-hmm. Over the years, I've had several, like I said, jobs with major companies. And I've traveled over the whole United States representing these companies. And when I leave a very positive impression of how African-American male should lead. And it shouldn't be about color. However, it is in America. Mm-hmm. But I always have left an impressionable, feeling with people, and they respect me today because of that. Mm-hmm. And when I say I work with, dignitaries and people, and I'm talking about, and I'll throw this name out there, Michael Jordan, Raven Simone, Gerald Eddie Levert in the past, people of the past, who were very well known throughout the United States. And these people saw me as somebody with integrity. And the company that I work for, because they believe that much in me, they let me go and be out there and represent them doing the job that I did.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because, I mean, it rubbed off on me a little. You know, it rubbed off. Yeah. Yeah, it rubbed off on me.
He knows some people.
I mean, it's not even on that. I'm just, as far as, the being a standout leader, being an example. Because, I tell you all the time, Ashlee, I don't like being the trend. I like to be,
trendsetter.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, everybody's able to get on that party train and then they quick to get off.
Right.
So it did stick.
Yeah, it stuck.
Anybody can be a follower, but everybody can't lead.
Nope. Nope. So, going back to the family, I know growing up, you've been really, stern about family. And what does family mean to you?
Well, I guess I go back, like I said, and talk about my mom and my dad. I did have two parents, and I was raised in a family type of environment. However, like I said, my father wasn't there. He worked all the time just to make sure we would have. Like I said, this was those time periods in the early 60s when African American men were trying to really provide for their homes and come out of those slums and apartments and have houses. And that's what my dad did. He bought us a house in a very nice neighborhood. We had a car. And my mom was there. She didn't work, taking care of us. And so I know it's important, and knew it was important to be there as a collective group. Everybody, I mean, a family is like your hand. And, you got your pinky finger, your thumb, middle finger, and those other fingers. But you cut one of those off, and that hand don't function like it should. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize. You cut that thumb off and see how long you can hold a hammer when you're trying to do work. So family is very important because everybody supports each other. When times get hard, you never know what person's weaknesses can be strengthened by another person just being there for them. And I say this even on my job today as I see so many young people come through that have an experience having two parents, whether it's a father or a mother, and there's something they're missing and that's lacking. And I think that strong support, knowing that somebody's going to be there for you, being able to come home and feel secure, that's important. And as a father, I think we should be the king and the head of our households to be able to continue to make that bond and make that connection and to show people why it is important to be a family. And not just the immediate family, but the extended family, knowing who your relatives are and being able to affiliate and develop relationships with them. Because like I said, it's a diverse world out there, and we got to know how to go out there and survive.
True that. Because DT out here, he making it hard. He making it hard. For those who don't know, DT is Donald Trump. Yeah, put him in office.
But once again, and I guess, and I hear people talking about him all the time. Man, he doing some bonehead crazy stuff. But I got to go back to even, like I said, when I first got married and through this thick and thin, when you truly know where your help comes from, ain't nothing DT can do. Because in the end, we know who's going to win. Facts. And so, and then that's how I truly believe. Mm-hmm. I believe that God's going to see me through no matter whatever happens.
Okay. Cool. So now we got what family means to you. So let's go on to, the olive branch that you extended to me and Angelica. What was it? What was the meaning behind that? Is the stick together?
Right. I understand what you're saying. One is because
the whole tight knit.
Right. Because one of the reasons is because we didn't have 5 or 6 children, and your mother and myself, we grow older. and we go on, you guys really don't have nobody but each other. Because one of the things, like I said earlier, the African American family or people that represent the family haven't learned to jail. So as they get older, they part ways. They're not there for each other. And I wanted you guys to grow up knowing that when we're gone, you may not have nobody but each other to depend on. So it's important that you continue to keep that family bond, that strength. And you got strength Angelica don't have. She has some that you don't have. But you can always rely on each other and know that somebody's going to be there for you. Because it's pretty tough being out there being alone. Mm-hmm. And you got people that's supposed to be in your bloodline that when you need something, they ask you, they tell you to go to the church. But
yeah.
You expect them to be there for you, but they're not. So, you guys coming up, and I'll never forget when you guys used to fight. And I tell you, that's your sister. You don't put your hands on her, first of all, because she's a woman. Then secondly, that's the person you got to depend on when you get older. And even in developing careers, as we've gone along, and one of the things I tried to make sure I taught you guys is do something, not just because it's the trend, but where everybody can benefit in the family. As you know, all the different jobs I had, we're not rich, like I said, by no means. We always benefited, whether it was with discount on clothes, flying around the country free, or wearing as cool as shades. Those type of jobs I had, we were able to get them at half the cost or less. Here's a story that I meant to tell you. And this is why I say you guys are spoiled. I remember when they were about 9 and 10 years old, my daughter and Philmore went to my wife and said, "Can we stop wearing Nike stuff? We want to wear some real clothes."
I don't remember that.
It happened. And so they didn't realize during that time that that brand was going to be one that everybody is always wanting, killing, taking. And even today, everybody got to have their shoes with the swoosh on them.
And what he wearing now, right now?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Nike shirt.
That's
Nike
what I'm saying. I don't remember that.
Nike's on.
I remember it because that's when I went and told your mama y'all was ungrateful.
I apologize to everybody.
Wardrobe full of Nike now.
Yes. That was the devil.
Nikki.
That was the devil. I ain't know no better. I was trying to block my blessings.
But I think, like I said, over time, both of them's careers has helped. They can help each other still, Philmore, they know what kind of business you in?
No.
Oh, well, he's doing very well in what he does. And he can extend that out to his family members. And what Angelica does is very, very resourceful, and she can extend that out. And those are things that most people don't have an option in their lives. And me and my wife, we can retire and never do another thing, and we know we're taken care of because we built that bond of family.
Okay. Well, since over the last year your family got a little bigger.
Did it?
With my wife.
Okay.
Nothing else. There's no announcement. There's no announcement.
Is it finna happen?
Relax. No announcement.
With her.
Oh, okay. You just said I didn't know what's going on.
Everybody calm down.
Right. With her.
I've been waiting on it.
Everybody breathe.
So how have you adapted with her being
part of the family?
Yes.
Well, and I'm going to be honest, and I hope she don't take the attitude like my wife did when it took about 5 or 6 years. But, I accept Ashlee in our family, and I love her, I'm going to say this. I care for her. Not saying that I don't love her, but we haven't been around each other enough yet for me to get to know her or her to get to know me. Mm-hmm. She only knows me from what you have said, and because I guess since Ashlee is been married to you, we probably hadn't seen or been around each other
handful of times,
a dozen times. Yeah. So I think it's still some growing there with us because she'll learn that hey, I'm here for y'all, 100%. I may not. And this is something that you and Angelica didn't realize, but I didn't verbalize a lot of emotion and show a lot of emotion.
Facts.
But
that's where you got that from too?
Yeah.
I guarantee you ain't nothing finna happen to her or you.
Right.
And you already know from my arsenal that if y'all need to come home, come on home. I'll get in trouble. Just call me. but I mean, I think you found a great woman in your life, and I think you guys treat each other like a husband and wife should. I've seen the things she's done since she's been married to you to support you in being a wife, and the things she does as a wife, and you being the same as a husband, and you guys carry. And that's all I ever have wanted, is for you and as well as Angelica, whoever your mate is to respect each other and love each other, because it don't really matter what me and my wife think, because y'all got to care for each other and be together for the rest of y'all lives. And ain't no need in playing games.
Right.
Like Ashley referred to earlier. There's no need in playing games. You got to do what you got to do and be real about it. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, we'll grow, Ashley and I, and she'll learn a lot more about me. I learn about her. But at the same time, it's going to be you two guys that matters. What y'all see about life. And I know I put enough in you to make sure that you make it work, and I'm sure you will.
Oh, yeah.
That look he gave you.
Yeah. I tell her all the time, I'm built for it tough now. Yeah.
So there was one question I had for you that Philmore
Which
shared
Philmore
about.
Has two of us.
The fourth, my Philmore. My Philmore shared just in conversations about family that we were having. He said he mentioned to me that you told him at some point not to date girls from single parent homes. And that struck me. I was like, really? Because he ended up marrying a girl from a single parent home. So I just wanted to know, like, why you told him that. Like, what was your rationale in telling him that, or like what perspective you were coming from?
Well, that's a good question, because when he was going through and what they were going through when they were coming up, a lot of women coming up during those times were looking for someone to fill a void. Mm-hmm. And the women or the young ladies growing up in those parents, I don't know, I just didn't want him to be out there just fishing and then getting the wrong person. Mm-hmm. And Philmore may have to help me, because that's been so long ago.
His age kicking in now. Well, I mean, I remember you telling me, through having, guy talk about, the relationships I was having, and, this girl, that girl. And all I was dating, was girls who were women or whatever you want to call them, with single parent homes. And the struggle that I was getting, the backlash that I was getting from that. Like how they wasn't seeing, what I see, because I can't see what they're seeing, but I'm trying to, bring them into my world. And then you told me, that sometimes you got the moms who are out there and saying, men ain't this and men ain't that. And then you didn't want me to go through that. So, I mean, that's why you told me at the time, try to pick you somebody who got, both sides.
Right. And it was about balance. I wanted Philmore to experience being there with someone who had balance. But as time rolled on, and we, like I said earlier, found that nowadays it's a lot of single parent females are raising their children. Mm-hmm. And I think Philmore has graduated to wearing an S on his chest, because he's an example. And that's what women need, is an example of an African-American male being positive and showing them that they know how to love and care for people. And I think that was important. And I guess, like I said, Ashley, over time, things happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. And him marrying you, who came out of a single parent, probably was a good thing, because, like I said, I'm not knowing a lot about you. You being able to find a male figure that's good to you, treat you like you want to be treated, it's something good because there are females out there that need that, and that do have dads and not fathers, and that's what I wanted him to grow up being, as a father and not just a dad. And like I said, coming up in time, seeing these single women out there not having a man in their lives, then they're planting these seeds in their daughter's head. He's just another man. Just go get what you can get, and then if it don't work, and that's not a good feel. But I mean, like I said, as I planted my seed and nurtured him to grow strong, I mean, he got it, because here's a story. Become a story. I always got a good story. I remember this one young lady that Philmore IV was trying to play her. And I ran up on him and caught him. And I did something that messed him up. I invited her over and he didn't know. And when he came in, his eyes was wide open and I bust him out right in front of him. And I told him he never knew and have ever seen me cheating on his mother. And that wasn't the right thing to do. And when he found who he needed to be dedicated to that person. And I did not want him doing that. And if he felt like he needed to do that, he needed to leave that person alone. And he did. And he grew up. And I know that hurt him, because that was a blind side. But it was about, like I said, teaching him to have integrity and character in who he decided to be with, and make sure that's who he wanted to be with.
Facts.
He had to straighten you up. Cheetahs.
I'm sure there's a conversation after this, too.
Cheetahs edition. Okay.
Good.
I just thought that was interesting. Because I do know a lot of women raise children from their brokenness. So I can see that side of it. But I know my mom was one of those ones who was never like a man basher. She was never one of those. She, like she said in her segment, she was always pro-love and pro-this. I was the one that was skeptical. And she was like, no. I'm like, okay, all right.
but you know what, Ashlee, and you bring out that point that I was making. Because you saw her struggling and what she had to do, that you had the issue with it. So
mine was more of a place, like we said in her segment, I learned more from my mother of what not to accept. So I think I was harder when I was in relationships because I had seen so much of what not to do.
Right.
I was extra tough, So it was like, if I saw any sign, I'd be like, bye. I'm gonna holler at you, So I was never taught, play with the man or just get his money and leave. That was never my thing.
Right,
my thing was, oh no, you're going to respect me.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And if I see a hint of, I'm gonna holler at you. There was no, let's talk. No, I don't want to talk about it. Like, you out.
And that's why when I brought Philmore, I showed him that wasn't an option. You treat the woman right from the beginning, and you dedicate yourself to her and be there for her. So you don't have that as a problem as you grew up in life. And that she can trust and know. And that's what I can say I respect and love about my wife. I probably got more female friends than I have male friends. But my wife she tells me, don't nobody else want me, that I'm coming home, that I'm going to be true to her, and I'm dedicated, and I got integrity in what I do. And that's how you can learn to have peace. That when your wife know that you can be around other women and she can be around, and there's no jealousy, because she know over time you've developed and planted that seed and made it strong to where, hey, there's that balance. So.
That's what's up. Any more questions? The fourth?
No, I'm good. He's done a great job.
He has. Is there anything else you want to add to final words?
Well, since this is a family version, I think in closing, I'd just like to say, any female or male out there, learn to really truly define what love is before you start saying it.
Yeah.
And then once you learn what it is, be true to it. Have some integrity. Live with character, because that female is not the only one looking at you. The world is looking at what you do, and your job and how successful you are, and you moving up. That can make a difference. And you want to be successful in life, and we as African American men need to take our role back and be leaders so we can be respected by not only America, but by our families, because our families don't respect us anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a loss. We're becoming a lost legend. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's about our legacies that we leave and the things that we leave behind. And like I said, if something happens to me and my wife, it's all been about building a legacy. And I know I've left 2 people biologically that is going to represent what I believed in and what I've trusted in and lived for all my life. And the foundation was about God being put in me. So that's all I needed to say. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. We definitely appreciate that.
Yep.
You sure
Man of God right there.
You sure you don't have no final words? Huh?
No. I said enough, Okay. My dad came, he represented.
Okay.
Like I thought he would.
Yeah. Came through.
Appreciate you being on the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Our Journey of Love, Family Edition. As we say all the time, be sure to follow us on all our social media sites. As they say, we are on
everything.
Everything includes Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Did I leave anything out? I think that's everything.
Yeah.
That sounded about right.
That's right. Yeah. Everything.
So be sure
Instagram,
to subscribe
Facebook.
on all those media sites. And as we always say, just leave us a comment, review, any questions, anything you want us to talk about. Be sure to hit us up on any one of our social media sites.
Yeah, because we love your feedback.
We do. We definitely do. So thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate it. So, and remember, love is patient. Love is kind. Be sure to join us here next time. Peace.
Holla.